Baseball isn't just numbers, numbers, numbers.
This game is not being played on computers.
You don't do that with a bunch of statistical gimmicks.
You don't put a team together with a computer.
We're talking weighted runs created plus,
expected WOBA,
his sweet spot rate,
defensive runs above average,
average exit velocity,
barrel rate,
xFIP,
BABIP,
SIERA.
We are above replacement radio. And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I'm doing very well today. We are in the final week of the regular season here in 2024. A lot is still to be decided. I'm coming off a very fun weekend. I got to watch some baseball. How about you, Chris?
Oh yeah, it was. I had a fun weekend as well. I also got to watch some baseball. And baseball I would not have been able to watch if I just stayed at home.
Yeah, that
yeah.
is true. Like very specifically that baseball.
Yeah, exactly. And we did not go to a Nationals game. Daniel and I went to Camden Yards on Saturday. Had a wonderful experience. It was a great game. If you don't know what happened, it went to extra innings. Orioles came very close to walking it off in the bottom of the ninth. Tigers scored 2 in the top of the 10th. And shut it down in the end, and extend their playoff chances, which are just ever growing. They were, growing last week, and they're even better now. So yeah, it's been a really, really, really cool to see this playoff race unfold, because I feel like 2 weeks ago, everything seemed closer to wrapped up than it is now 2 weeks later.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. By the way, like Chris and I do not live particularly close to Camden Yards, so we're not far either. Chris is about a 3-hour drive. I was a 4.5-hour drive from our respective apartments. This was not like planned in advance really at all. We decided, like, I had the idea the night before, and we just impromptu bought the tickets. I made a day trip out of it, 15-hour a day. Chris also made a day trip out of it, and yeah, it was a heck of an impromptu baseball day to finish out. I assume our years. I don't think I'm going to a game again this year. I don't imagine you're going to one. So, yeah, it was a fun time, and yeah, also like a game that I would have watched from home, or well, I would have been invested in watching from home, regardless. So it was cool to be there in person.
Yeah, and shout out to Baltimore. Fantastic environment. I know the home fans didn't get the result they wanted, but it was a great environment,
like atmosphere. Yeah,
close to like around playoff environment for that game, given the implications for both teams, and yeah, it was awesome to be around for sure. And yeah, some other exciting things in the baseball world happened this week outside of playoff races. Just some individual excellence from someone we would expect it most from. That being Shohei Ohtani, who it was Wednesday or Thursday?
I think it was Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, it was Thursday the 19th.
Yeah, Thursday the 19th. Shohei Ohtani joins the 50-50 club in extremely exciting fashion, going 6 for 6 with 3 home runs, 2 stolen bases, along with one double.
2 doubles.
2 doubles, excuse me, 2 doubles. And a single. Yeah, I mean, I think you were keeping track throughout the game. What were you thinking through the whole game?
Yeah, I and many others were just living on stat head in the late innings of that game. Yeah, I mean, Shohei getting to 50-50 was incredible. It's something that I don't think anyone really even considered as an idea until it was like something that he was on pace for at a later point in the season, right? Like when the rule change happened, we saw Acuna go 40-70, which was definitely like uncharted territory in terms of not just the fact that it never happened, but also in the ideas of people's minds. I don't think anyone pictured that when they thought about the stolen base rule, the bigger bases, whatnot. So that was amazing. And then 50-50 again, just like I feel like just beyond the minds of anyone. And 55-55 is even a realistic thing now, but it's not just the fact that he did it. It's the way in which, like, Shohei Ohtani, when he does these accomplishments this season, he never does them in a standard way. Like, when he did 40-40, he stole a base and homered, but in the same game. But the homer was a walk-off grand slam. So he stole his 40th base and got his 40th home run in the same game with a walk-off grand slam. And then for 50-50, right, he steals his 50th and 51st base. He also hits his 49th, 50th, and 51st home runs, and also hits 2 doubles and also hits a single, goes 6 for 6 with 10 RBI out of the leadoff spot. I don't really think at this point it's possible to talk about Shohei Ohtani and his greatness without sounding incredibly cliche and like unoriginal, because it's such an important thing you have to address, but he also just keeps doing it in so many different ways, even in years where he's not pitching. And to have not just the actual story of him going 50-50 be the storyline, but also the way he did it is just a ridiculous notion.
Yeah, it's absolutely absurd. And like, yeah, it's been said a million times, but he invents new ways to, be a revolutionary baseball player. And that's most exemplified this year. His career high stolen base mark before this year was 26. When in the first year of the rule changes, when the game was, officially changed, he was at 20 stolen bases. So, if we were thinking anyone, if someone asked us, okay, someone's gonna, or if someone said to us, someone's gonna get 50-50 this year, who's it gonna be? Shohei Ohtani might have been 15th or 20th. The 15th or 20th person we would have guessed. We would have guessed the Acuñas, Julio Rodriguez,
Witt,
maybe even Witt, maybe even Jose Ramirez, Gunnar Henderson, a myriad of different players, but not Shohei Ohtani, because his career high at stolen bases was 26. But here he comes. Everyone's expecting him to be less valuable this year for obvious reasons. He wasn't going to pitch this year, but he goes ahead and has his best base running year ever, and maybe the best base running year out of anyone in baseball this year. He leads all of baseball in weighted stolen bases in terms of how many runs, the run value he has off of his stolen base attempts, because not only does he have 53 stolen bases this year, he's only been caught 4 times. That is Corbin Carroll level of base running efficiency, actually even better than Corbin Carroll stolen base efficiency from last year, which is already historic. It's absolutely insane how he just seems to reinvent himself in new ways, despite already having a baseline level of being so great.
Worth noting that this is also like by far the most he's attempted to steal bases at any point in his career. I'm looking at the numbers here. I think the year that he did the most was 2021. He had 26 stolen bases, like you mentioned, 10 caught stealings, which actually led all of baseball. So that's 36 stolen base attempts compared to 57 this year. I believe Shohei, maybe that's, you could chalk that up to like the Dodgers being a more aggressive base running team than the Angels with him. I think it's probably more of a he's not pitching thing, because I would imagine Shohei probably, I'm pretty sure he like basically just doesn't steal in games that he's pitching, which understandably so. And I think he's even spoken on this before, where he's said I don't plan on running as much in games that I'm pitching, maybe years that I'm pitching, whatever. I feel like the fact that he was off the mound this year and could focus solely on offense probably played some sort of pretty big role in the uptick and even just base running aggressiveness and stolen base attempts this year. As much as we missed his pitching this year, still take this in, because this is something we very well might not even see him get close to again. But then again, this is Shohei Ohtani we're talking about, so who knows?
Yeah, and also I'm looking now as out of curiosity. This is a guy who's headed into his age. He's in his age 29 season. He increased his sprint speed this year, and maybe that has to do with some of the more aggressiveness and maybe being I don't know if carefree is the right word, but just be not having to worry about being less cautious about running on the bases. So he is running faster this year, which you don't normally see as guys age. Usually guys' highest sprint speeds ever are going to be, in their early to mid 20s, but he's managing to run faster this year, which obviously helps in the stolen base department. So yeah, that does make a lot of sense that you say that, because there is an obvious correlation between, this is his first full year where he's not a pitcher. And it just happens to be when he's going to steal 53 bases. Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things where like if you ever hear there's sometimes sometimes old school baseball fans will be like Ichiro could have been a 30 home run hitter, but he just chose not to. He wanted to be a contact hitter. Like you'll hear those kind of notions, and you don't know if that's true or not. With Ohtani, it's like, oh, maybe he could have been this the whole time. It's just he wanted to save his energy for his pitching, which
Yeah.
at this point you kind of have to believe.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, I mean, again, like, yeah, we missed his pitching this year, and I'm sure everyone will be very excited to have him back on the mound next year. Assuming that's the plan. I don't know exactly what the Dodgers are going to do, what he's going to want to do, especially now that this is how we know that he can just hit alone. But I'd have to imagine he makes a return to the mound next year, and yeah, maybe the base running aggressiveness goes down just a little bit. Uh, and also, I feel like we just need to talk about more about this actual game because not only so I was on StatHead like everyone else. Shohei Ohtani was the first player in baseball history to record 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and 2 stolen bases in a single game, and he hit 3 home runs.
Yeah, yeah, insane.
Even funnier, yeah, I believe 10 RBI out of the leadoff spot is the most in a single game for someone batting leadoff. I'll have to check that one.
Um, I found one earlier
Okay.
today. So as many people know, he had 17 total bases, alongside 2 stolen bases. I looked up all the games with in which a player recorded 2 or more stolen bases. Ohtani obviously has the most total bases for someone who stole 2 bases in a game. But the next most total bases for a guy that has stolen 2 bases in a game is 11. So he had 17. Next best was 11. That's the gap between between his game and the rest of the pack.
It
And
was also, yeah,
go ahead.
it was also the first game in history with 6 hits, 3 home runs, and 2 stolen bases.
Yeah, unreal. And it's unreal because when you watch a game, typically you're not watching for one position player. If you're watching for one player, it's usually the pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
But like, obviously there were a lot of implications in this game. He could have, obviously had the chance to at least improve his 50-50 chances or get there, if he had a very good game, which obviously he did. But I was like, I was already invested that game. I had a bet on Jack Flaherty that game, but I was watching, I was watching the game. I was
Guy who
watching the
tunes into
game.
the Ohtani 50-50 game for Jack Flaherty.
Yeah, yeah. But it was Dodgers Marlins, so like I wasn't, fully invested. But I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely watch the Ohtani at bats. And it's crazy to watch a position player, especially a DH, take over a game. You don't see that, you'll see that in football, you'll see that in basketball. You don't see a DH in baseball take over a game. But that's pretty much what Ohtani did.
I think the funniest part about it is that the game could have actually been even cooler because on one of Ohtani's 2 doubles, he got thrown out at third going for a triple, which meant he could have hit for the cycle in this game if he had gotten that base.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No,
And he would have gotten the cycle with his 49th home run, then hit his 50th, then hit his 51st.
right. Yeah. That would have been,
Which would have been there's been conversation about if this has been the like best game ever played, and like statistically, it's tough to say. I mean, like in terms of total bases, I believe the record is Sean Green with 19.
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like when you count the total bases plus stolen bases, you might as well just throw Shohei up there and tie him with Sean Green, right? I don't think Sean Green stole any bases in that game in 2002.
No, he did not.
Um, but yeah,
No one else who's gotten 16 total bases in a game has stole
yeah,
1 base, never mind two.
yeah, no. Um, and you obviously have to add in the context, right? Like he had this incredible performance while he accomplished something no one had ever accomplished, while his team clinched a playoff spot. Not that it was like there was any sort of dramatic flair in the Dodgers clinching a postseason spot, but
Right.
it just so happened to be that game. Um, yeah, no, I mean I think it's up there. My tweet when he hit the third home run, even if the third home run was off a little floating meatball from Vidal Brujan. Like this has to be the single game performance ever, right? Like this has to be the greatest one.
Yeah,
And
it's certainly up there. It's
when
it's
you
the
when you add the context, I think you have to.
it's the best I've observed as well in my time as a baseball fan, going back to whatever the late aughts. So
Yeah.
for whatever that's worth, like definitely my generation's best baseball game ever by an individual so far, and I think certainly in contention for history. We're big, baseball history guys, but it's hard to find anything like there hasn't even been like a crazy 1920s game to go off of
Yeah.
with this one. Like there's no guy who in 1925 had 25 total bases or something like that.
I thought for certain when I was doing the stat head searches that I was gonna learn of some random guy that I've never heard of in 1925 that went off one day for like the Washington Senators or something.
Yeah.
But no, not
No.
even that.
No. Yeah, no. It's pretty wild. I mean,
By the way, yeah, it's shout out also to Skip Schumacher for electing to pitch to Ohtani in the at bat where he hit his 50th home run. It was an 11-3 game at the time, and the Dodgers had runners on second and third with 2 outs. So I mean, obviously the score is what it is, but given like the situation, it would have made sense to intentionally walk the guy that was already 4 for 4 against you. But Skip Schumacher, like you can actually see him in the dugout being like, no, like let's see this.
right, right.
And it was Mike Bauman on his fifth team of the year who gave it up.
Yeah.
Poor
That's
guy.
wild. And yeah, I had a random thought today as I had the Braves Marlins game on my laptop, and I was thinking Skip Schumacher might be the first manager in history to have a tattoo sleeve. I don't know if that's ever been done
A tattoo sleeve.
because he has
Like I mean, I'm going strictly off of vibes here. I don't know if that's actually true, but like if Gabe Kapler had one, I would not be shocked.
I wouldn't be shocked either, but I feel like he was tattooless.
Yeah, no, he is tattooless, but the vibes are there. I don't know, maybe like Ron Gardenhire had one.
Tattooless Joe Jackson.
That was a joke.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe Ron got Gardenhire.
Gardenhire, maybe Connie Mack had one.
Yeah. I'm
He got one
sure
like
I'm sure
yeah, he
Miller
got one
Huggins.
when he was in the when during one of his twilight years of managing when he was like 84.
Yeah, I'm sure Miller Huggins on the 1920s
Huggins had one.
Yankees was
Yeah.
was out there rocking a tattoo sleeve. But yeah,
Yeah,
no.
very, very Yankee vibe for sure.
Yes. That's what Steinbrenner wanted to bring back. But yeah, no. If you didn't hear, Shohei Ohtani is a very good baseball player.
Yeah,
Um,
he's cool.
it will be nice, even if it's just for 3 games to see him in the playoffs finally. Um,
Yes, yeah, I mean that's also the biggest thing. I mean, I saw someone tweet this and it had me thinking if the Dodgers win the World Series and he is like a major contributor for it, where does it rank among like the greatest individual seasons of all time?
um, yeah, that's a good
Like
question.
this is some nerd stuff, but the first one that came to mind for me was 1980 Mike Schmidt,
Um, yeah,
which is like in terms of numbers, absolutely not, but like MVP, Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, World Series champ,
yeah, yeah.
Mookie Betts, same thing in 2018.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Um,
But yeah, none of them went 50-50. So, and also
no.
like I do feel like there's not enough people talking about the fact that he was also recovering from UCL surgery this year. Like just people kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think there's been a lot of examples of players who have, come back from that and like started off a little bit slow after I feel like Bryce Harper was not fully his self
Yeah.
for a couple months when he came back from his UCL surgery. So yeah, I mean there's
It took Shohei like 5 games to get going.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, yeah, he defies logic, he defies odds. I'm not gonna go all Ken Rosenthal on everybody, but
I also think it's cool that Ohtani, as a guy that has spent, the large portion of his career in the American League, has like his two career defining moments have both been at Marlins Park,
um
the World Baseball Classic and
oh yeah,
50-50.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, those are like probably the two
Yeah.
biggest moments of his career.
As of September 2024, yes.
Yes, indeed. It will surely not end that way, I don't think. Um, but but yeah, anything more on Ohtani?
And I think that's kind of it on that. But yeah, what a season, what a player. The MVP talk is finished. Like I will admit I was entertaining a case for Francisco Lindor. Thursday just kind of closed the book. Like it's not even again like even I was gonna consider Francisco Lindor whether or not 50-50 happened. To see it happen like that, it was, and unfortunately with the Lindor injury happening around the same time, the case was closed.
Yeah, indeed,
And I mean,
indeed.
now 55-55 is on the table. Like, keep in mind, Shohei had what 48 and 49 heading in, and as we are recording on Sunday, he is now at 53-55.
Yeah, oh right, right. Yeah.
like,
It's
like
just
think about how quickly he moves
yeah, it's crazy
these
because yeah,
days.
when we were entertaining the Lindor, but that's on September 7, Ohtani was at a 986 OPS. Now, well, as of yesterday, it was
Yeah.
1014, and it's gone up even higher. So
Yep.
he's gained like over 30 points of OPS in
I think he.
September.
Yeah, I think he leads the majors in F4 in the month of September.
Yeah, and he leads all of the NL for the season now, which
Hmm.
was like the
As a
big case
DH.
that yeah, that was the big case for
That
Lindor
was
was the
that was
F4.
the only case for Lindor because of defense.
Yes, because of defense. People as people who preach defense and
Mhm.
fundamentals usually forget when talking about player evaluation, but
Yeah.
alas. But yeah, shout out to Ohtani. Gonna win his third MVP despite not pitching. Unreal. But yeah, there will be some very competitive baseball this upcoming week. A lot of races still undecided whether it be
Can I
division.
can I just say
Well,
sorry? Can I just say one more thing about Ohtani?
yeah,
This is something for later, but like I just was thinking about this last night on my drive home from Baltimore. Like when Shohei Ohtani first came into the league in 2017, there were so many people that were, or well, in the 2017 to 18 offseason, there were so many people just going through like what their standards were for him and what would constitute living up to the hype. And a lot of people were thinking, well, what if he was like a league average pitcher and a league? How incredible would that be? Like that's something that we've never seen. It's been since Babe Ruth, all of that stuff. And he has set the bar so much higher than that, that if some other two-way player came in and did exactly that, we would be like, who cares?
yeah, yeah,
Like if we saw a two-way player come in 2025, put up a 105 ERA plus and a 105 OPS plus in qualifying seasons and get like, I don't know, 6.5 WAR out of it, people would be like, dude, who cares? This is not what two-way playing is supposed to be. You're supposed to be fantastic at both.
yeah, exactly.
Because that's all we know of. That's all we know of two-way players. Like we know of one two-way player. I'm sorry, Brandon
Yeah,
McKay. I'm excluding you from this narrative here. And it's a guy who is an MVP caliber bat and at best a Cy Young caliber arm.
yeah. Like like if you're a two-way player, if we take one of those ways away, you're still a premier MVP candidate.
Yes.
That's what
Yeah.
you're
Well, we
supposed to
did.
be.
We did
Yeah,
for
yeah,
for one season. Yeah. I feel like the only thing that he really has left to do, other than like win a World Series, is have the MVP and Cy Young season.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Like MVP in the case where even if we took out pitching, you still probably would have been strongly in the conversation just with hitting alone,
right, right.
which
And
feels more than possible.
also when we did that active Hall of Famers thing last year, and I know obviously he hasn't hit 10 years of service time, but like this is all hypothetical stuff. Like we I talked about like if he did pitching hitting thing at that elite level for 4 years, he would be in right now. And he did it for 3 years. But given this year and how well he's done as
It
just a
counts.
hitter, I think he's in right now.
Yeah.
No matter what, service time, whatever, who cares?
Yeah. I
there-
feel like we should just count like the two-way seasons as 2 seasons. So he played 6 seasons from 2021 to 2023.
Yes, indeed.
And then with 2018 through 20 and this year, that gets him to 10 years this year. So congratulations to Shohei Ohtani on earning his pension.
Yeah, it's crazy.
7 years after he came into the league.
Yeah, guy's at 42.6 total wins above replacement, and he really only started getting going 3 years
4
ago.
years ago. Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. What is his? Yeah.
Unreal.
I mean, like, yeah, it really, how much? Yeah, like probably what 80% of that was 2021 through 2024, maybe more than
Yeah,
that.
because like he got probably around 4 WAR for his rookie season, which won him Rookie of the Year deservedly. And then yeah, he didn't. I don't think he got much in 2019 and 2020.
No.
Definitely not 2020. And
No,
then,
2019 he probably got like a couple from hitting,
yeah,
but he had
yeah.
Tommy John that year.
So he probably had like 5 or 6 WAR going into 2021. So he's probably gotten like 36 in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Wild. So yeah. So anyway, Ohtani, he's pretty good. But yeah, we do have some competitive baseball to watch. And yeah, it's kind of just like we'll kind of serve as your TV guides here. Because there's gonna be a lot to keep track of. There is a lot undecided right now, whether it be division races, whether it be wild card races, whether it be seeding, even some teams that are probably well on their way to winning the division. It's undetermined whether they're going to be a 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed. So that's all stuff to watch for, because obviously home field advantage can play a major factor in the playoffs. So yeah. We wanted to do top 5 series to watch.
Yeah.
But for the next
Between
week,
now and the end of the regular season.
Yeah, from now until the end of the regular season, as of September 22nd through the end of the year. So yeah, what would be your number 5 series to watch?
Yeah, so Fred, my number 5, I have a series that starts on Tuesday and ends on Thursday. By the way, Monday's slate is trash. It is so bad. There are 4 games. The only one that technically Red Sox Blue Jays kind of matters because the Red Sox are mathematically in it, but who cares? The Phillies Cubs, I guess, kind of matters, but really it's Mariners Astros. But the Tuesday through Thursday series that I have at number 5 is the Rays visiting Comerica Park to take on the Tigers. First of all, I'm very excited to see what this Comerica Park crowd looks like. It's probably going to be the biggest crowds that they've seen late in the season outside of the Miguel Cabrera retirement games in quite a long time. So I'm very eager to see what that looks like. The Rays are mathematically in it. You can watch for that if you choose to, but there's a lot of things that need to go right for the Rays to make the playoffs, and it's not all in their control. But for the Tigers, I think this is such a crucial 3 games, because I think these are the toughest 3 games you're going to play the rest of the season, because it's 3 against the Rays, and then you have the White Sox coming into town for 3, and that should be a sweep. I'm not even saying 2 out of 3. That has to be a sweep. So it feels like if the Tigers take 2 out of 3 in this series, at the very least, it almost feels like they're a shoo-in for the playoffs. Obviously, you got to play the White Sox. You got to do your business against them. But, the way that they've played this year and the way that the Tigers have played lately, it feels like a foregone conclusion that should be a sweep. And hopefully not a 2 out of 3, but should be a sweep. So if the Tigers can take 2 out of 3 at least from the Rays, it feels like there's a lot that's going to have to go wrong for them to not make the playoffs. So I have that as my number 5.
Yeah, my number 5 is a weekend series, and it's kind of hard to it's kind of weird to rank some of the weekend series because obviously implications can change a lot in the next 4 days. However, this is just based off what we know now, and that is the Orioles Twins series that will be at Camden Yards over the weekend. It's not. I can't imagine it being very meaningful for the Orioles. I think the Orioles they'd have to slide. I mean, a lot would have to go wrong for them to fall out of a playoff spot, and I think they'd have to win every game, and the Yankees would have to lose every game for them to get the division. So I think they're kind of comfortable where they're at. I think they're, there's like a 99% chance they keep that 4 seed, so it's not as meaningful for them. However, the Twins, they're probably going to need that series. I mean, I think they're currently out of a playoff spot right now. I imagine that, they do have a series against the Marlins, so I imagine they should do well, or at least not completely fall off against them. So that'll be a series to watch for sure, because I imagine they're still going to be at least in the race, and potentially right in the heat of it, and in a spot, and one win or loss could determine their season. So that's going to be something to watch, especially against a good team like the Orioles. What do you got for the number 4 slot?
Yeah, I have the same series at my number 4. I have the Orioles and Twins series. It is actually going to be at Target Field instead of at
Oh,
Camden Yards,
whoops.
so Minnesota will be home for that one. Yeah, I mean the Orioles are pretty comfortably, I think, going to be the 4 seed. The Yankees' magic number to win the division, I believe, is at 1 right now after they beat the Athletics and the Orioles lost to the Tigers. And not only are the Yankees playing the Orioles at Yankee Stadium this week, but they're also hosting the Pirates this weekend. So uh, the Yankees are 99.999% going to win the division, and it's not even really worth speculating otherwise. The Orioles, I can't imagine they're going to fall. Definitely not out of the playoffs, but certainly not out of the 4 seed either. So this series is more so about the Twins, and also kind of just seeing if the Orioles can really pick themselves back up going into the playoffs. I mean, it's been a tough run for them. I believe they haven't won a series against a team that is currently over 500 since July 4th. They just lost another one today, again to Detroit, their second series loss to Detroit in as many weekends. Minnesota is at exactly 81 wins, so they will be technically over 500 for at least most of that series at the very least. But yeah, this is a series that's more about the Twins. Obviously, we don't know where they're going to stand when this series actually happens, but they need all the wins they can get. They're coming in with a struggling Baltimore team to finish off the year, and they also have who do they have during the week? I should know this. I've been looking at this a lot.
The Twins have the
They have the
Marlins.
Marlins, yeah. So I mean, that should be some easy wins. It's really, it's obviously the most competitive opponent they'll have for the rest of the year. So yeah, that's the series that I'm watching for the Twins.
So yeah, it seems we're very close in the rankings, because my number 4 series is Tigers Rays. I think I maybe placed a little bit more importance on it because I know the implications with this one. Whereas, a weekend series, a lot can change, obviously. But yeah, it's as you said, like the Tigers, after this series, can really determine their own fate. If they do well in this series, it's kind of up to them if they're going to be a playoff team or not. And Rays can be a tough competition. I think the Rays have actually been doing pretty well as of late, because I do recall them being a lot more below 500 than they are now. So I think they've been one of the better teams in baseball over the past couple weeks. So gonna be tough competition. I know Scooble's getting the ball at one point during the series. That should be a win for the Tigers if he's on his game for sure.
Tuesday.
So yeah, that's gonna be it's going to be a fun one for sure. I'm definitely going to have my eyes on that one. And yeah, especially with the home crowd, it's going to be fun for sure. Yeah. What do you got at number 3?
Yeah, number 3, I have another weekend series. This one between two teams that are pretty comfortably in the playoff picture at this point, but certainly are both going to be fighting for a lot. It's the Padres and the Diamondbacks in Arizona. This one is another Friday through Sunday series. The big thing about this one is that as of right now, this could change by the time this comes out with the Mets, but the Padres and Diamondbacks are the 4 and 5 seeds in the National League right now. So if the season were to end today, they would be playing each other in the playoffs. But obviously, there's still a lot of implications that we don't know for this series. But the big thing here is that the tiebreaker will be determined by the winner of this series. These two teams have played each other 10 times already this season, and they are 5 and 5. So whoever wins this series, if they end up tied at the end of the regular season, that team will either get home field advantage or they'll just be in the playoffs instead of out if that's the situation that we come to. It's very unlikely that that's the situation, but the biggest thing to look for here is the tiebreaker. Also worth noting, the Padres are only 3 games back at the Dodgers, and they do play the Dodgers this week. I don't have that one here. I can't imagine you do, but that could also be another thing where the Padres or the Diamondbacks play spoiler to any potential Padres division hopes.
Right. Yeah. I actually do I have the Dodgers and Padres as my number 3 series.
Perfect. Yeah.
Because yeah, part of it is just, it is I think Tuesday through it's either Tuesday through Thursday or Wednesday or Monday through Wednesday. So it's ahead of us, and we know what the implications are as of now. Yeah, Padres are only 3 out, so I mean, hypothetically, in a given the low chances, if they sweep, that series is tied, and or that division race is tied, and I mean, that's just an insane possibility to think about, considering how large the Dodgers lead was even just like a month ago. So yeah, I mean, it would be, I think this is a series to definitely look out for, because yeah, the Dodgers have not sealed that division. The Padres have a chance at that division, and also the Padres, even if they're not winning the division, they need to secure their spot as the 4 seed, because if they do poorly in that series, they could fall out. They could be a 5 seed. They could be going on the road for the wild card series rather than playing at a very friendly Petco Park. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot at stake for the Padres and Dodgers in that series. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye on for that one. What's your number 2 series?
Yeah, funny enough, it's not this one, but I actually did have Padres Dodgers as one of my series on this list because I wrote it thinking that the Padres would come into that series 2 back at the Dodgers because they were losing 5-1 to the Rockies at the time, and then they came back and won. And so I was like, all right, they have to sweep to tie it, and the Dodgers are going to Coors for the last series, so I'll bump all the other ones in front of that one. But I did have that one. But for my number 2, we're on number 2, right? Yeah, for my number 2, I have the Royals and Braves. That is a weekday series happening Tuesday through Thursday. These are 2 teams that are fighting for their lives right now. I mean, the Royals are in a playoff spot, but the Twins and Mariners are lurking closely behind. They're also on a pretty big losing skid. This is a weekend. This is a weekend series, not a weekday series. The Royals play the Nationals first. But yeah, this one's in Atlanta. The Royals are another team that's kind of struggling right now. They've lost 7 in a row. They just went 0-6 on a homestand against the Tigers and Giants. So they're looking to get back on track and looking to stay in the race, because this was a team that's been in the playoff picture for most of the season, and they are now tied with the Tigers for the 6th seed. They are only 1 game ahead of the Twins and 2 games ahead of the Mariners. So they are definitely not locked into a playoff spot right now. I mean, they are in one, but it certainly is not by any means a guarantee that they get there. As for the Braves, they are currently, as we stand, 1.5 games out, but it could turn to 2 games out. It could turn to 1 game out, depending on the results of this Mets game. As of right now, it is 1-1. Mets Phillies in the top of the 6th. So. But regardless, they're a team that's on the outside looking in. They got to win as many games as possible and hope for the best with what happens with the other teams. But that'll be a very interesting series between 2 teams that are probably going to be very desperate for wins.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, that's also why I have the Braves and Royals as my number 2 series to watch. And that'll be over the weekend, and that'll be probably the premier weekend series to watch, in my opinion. And yeah, obviously we don't know how important it will be as we're 5 days out from it right now. However, yeah, it's predictable to think that for at least one of the teams, this is going to be very, very important. With a lot at stake. Braves potentially, by the end of this night, before even this podcast comes out, is 1 game out of the wild card spot. Who has the tiebreaker between them and the Mets? I guess it's undetermined right now, but if the season ends,
I'll get there.
Okay, we'll get there. Depending on that, that could be very, very meaningful for the Braves. And with the Royals, yeah, I mean, Royals, by the way, they're on a 7-game losing streak, and they've also lost 16 of their last 23. They're falling out. They're begging for another team to take their spot. But the Twins are struggling probably just as bad as the Royals are. But yeah, the Royals, as it stands now, are only 1 game ahead in the race, and they don't have a tiebreaker over the Twins. So this entire week is crucial for them. I know they face the Nationals earlier in the week, but against the Braves, who are going to be competing just as hard as they are, it's going to be tough. Going on they're going it's in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
It's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be tough. So that's going to be definitely one to watch because it's very, very likely going to be very important for both teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
On to
And
number one.
yeah, at number one, I'm sticking with the Atlanta Braves, but talking about their weekday series, which is against the New York Mets. This is a Tuesday to Thursday series, like I mentioned earlier. And yeah, this one is, I mean, it's the biggest series of the week for a lot of obvious reasons. First of all, obviously the Braves are chasing the Mets for the final wild card spot. They are either 1 or 2 games out at the start of the series. We don't know yet. But more importantly, this is the series that determines the tiebreaker. It is 5-5 as it stands right now between the Mets and Braves throughout the season. So whoever wins this series does get the tiebreaker, which is certainly a lot more realistic that something like that does indeed come into play if that happens. So not only are these 3 games important to win for simply having a better record and getting to the playoffs, but it's also important in that you give yourself a lot more room for error in the event of a tie between the two teams. So these are going to be, I would imagine, playoff atmosphere games in Atlanta, all 3. So this is it's going to be a big series for both teams.
Yeah, and almost like a fresh reminder of in 2022 they had a very
Yep.
similar series like this,
Yep.
where it was the second to last of the year in Atlanta. Division race on the line, and I think Atlanta swept them, right?
They did.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. So yeah, obviously there's a lot that can be changed with that. With a Mets sweep, that could pretty much end the season for the Braves, or I think it would mathematically eliminate them. And then yeah, if the Braves sweep, they're in a very good spot. If the Braves win that series, depending on the result of this game, they could take over the spot, but not clinch. So yeah, there's a lot going on there.
It will also be the first time that the Braves will be facing Luis Angel Acuna.
Yeah,
Not that storyline is at its peak of fun because, oh my God, no way. Okay, I'll get to what I just saw later, but not that the storyline is as fun as it could be because Ronald Acuna Jr. is unfortunately not playing. Brendan Nimmo just homered, by the way, so the Mets are now up.
Team Chris.
Yeah, and they're now up 2-1. Anyway, I think that's kind of all I have to say for that series. But I noticed if you're watching the Mets Braves game, there was a guy behind home plate wearing a "Make America Great Again" shirt, and they cut back from commercial, and he started walking back to his seat wearing a different shirt. So I'm wondering if they told him, "Hey, you got to change."
That's hilarious.
If you're watching this podcast, you can go back and watch. But that is the same dude wearing a different shirt behind home. It's first row in between 2 OMG signs. He's wearing, I think, a yellow shirt. I'm colorblind, so I don't know, maybe lime green. But he was most definitely wearing a shirt that said a bright red shirt that said "Make America Great Again" in the font before this inning.
They're Marlins manning him.
Marley, yeah.
It's MAGA man. Yeah, no, it's and yeah, obviously if I didn't say it, yeah, Mets Braves is also my number one. It's
Yeah.
kind of the clear choice.
It is.
I'm very excited for it. I was like, as we were
I'm very sad that I'm gonna have to go through illegal streaming sites to watch it.
Oh yeah, Mr. New York. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have, can relate. I have the Orioles troubles. Luckily the Nationals are out of it. I don't
Yeah.
Actually the Nationals are hosting the freaking Royals, so that's actually a game I would watch. So yeah. Shout out to MLB, always providing us all the content we deserve.
Yes.
But yeah, that does it for the series breakdown. But yeah, Daniel, you have all the tiebreakers. You've done the research
Yes.
that I'm gonna learn some stuff here. Never mind the listeners. So I'm excited to hear.
Yeah, okay. So I decided to break down pretty much all of the potential tiebreakers. I left the Rays out and the Red Sox out. So sorry, Rays and Red Sox fans. I
Womp
didn't
womp.
include you here. If I'm wrong and these come into play, then I will accept responsibility for being wrong. But I kept it to the Twins, Tigers, Royals, and Mariners in the American League, and the Mets, Braves, Diamondbacks, and Padres in the National League. So, oh, by the way, I did forget to mention this. Honorable mention for series to watch. This series does not mean anything in the context of the playoffs, but I think I'll be tuning in for sentimental reasons. Rangers versus Athletics during the week.
Ooh.
It will be the final games at the Oakland Coliseum. I'm sure it'll be a very emotional watch for a lot of people, especially in the Oakland area, but even outside of it as well. It'll be a
Yeah.
tough watch for sure, but I would definitely recommend tuning in because I think it's something that you're going to want to soak in, especially on Wednesday if you are able to watch the day game on Wednesday.
Yeah, or I think Thursday at 3:30 is when
Or
that
Thursday,
last,
yes,
is when
Thursday.
yeah, that last game is.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be yeah, it'll be pretty wild for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, onto the tiebreakers.
Yeah. So the tiebreakers, the Twins and Tigers tiebreaker is held by the Twins. The Twins and Royals tiebreaker is held by the Twins. And the Twins and Mariners tiebreaker is held by the Twins. So Minnesota has pretty much every tiebreaker that it needs. So as long as it just ties somebody in that race for at least the 6th seed, they are in the playoffs. So the Twins are out of it right now. They've been slumping pretty heavily. But the good news is that they played well enough against the teams they needed to, so where they have a little less room for error. In terms of the Tigers and Royals, it is held by Kansas City. The Tigers and Mariners is held by Detroit, and the Mariners and Royals is held by Kansas City. So the Mariners, not only are they the farthest team back, but they also need to get ahead of somebody because they do not hold any of the tiebreakers. The Mets and Braves, that tiebreaker will be determined by the winner of the upcoming series. The Mets and Diamondbacks is held by the Mets. And the Mets and Padres is held by the Mets. So the Mets will, as of right now, they hold all of them, but, they're still waiting on hopefully getting one more in their case. The Braves Diamondbacks is held by Atlanta. The Braves Padres is held by San Diego. And like I mentioned before, the Diamondbacks Padres, the winner will be determined by the upcoming series.
All right. Yeah. You said Mets have the advantage against the Diamondbacks.
Yes.
Yeah, that is
So
helpful.
Arizona, as of right now, does not have any, but they could gain one by defeating the Padres.
That's very interesting. Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun because yeah, in my head I'm thinking about like, oh, what are the playoff series gonna look like? But we still don't
We
know,
have
which is
no
awesome.
idea. No idea.
Which is fantastic. Like we know, like I think
I think the biggest lock that we have, I mean, it's obviously not locked right now, but it feels very likely the Astros will be the 3 seed in the American League and they'll face the 6 seed.
Yeah, and Orioles
Which
probably
could be,
four.
and the Orioles will
probably
probably be the 4 seed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's really it. Also there's I think maybe a little bit of a odd dichotomy with 1 seed versus 2 seed for NL because I think in the odds are that the 1 seed probably, and obviously the playoffs are crazy, so it's no guarantee, but the odds are the 1 seed plays the Padres, which you don't want. However, you hypothetically, if you get in the LCS, you want home field advantage. So I think it's sort of a pick your poison scenario.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's just an aside. Yeah, anything more you wanted to talk about before we get into players to highlight?
No, let's talk about it.
Awesome. Yeah, so now we will get into the part we've most prepared for with our players to highlight, starting with the lows. So we end with the highs. And yeah, we will do our Sunday, September 22nd, 2024 edition of Slightly Alarming Statistics. He's been barreling up the ball way less.
He's not missing bats. He's not getting the ball on the ground, and people are hitting it in the air more.
It's been so bad. He is getting
Slightly alarming.
Yeah, so for my slightly alarming today, I am talking about a slumping player on a slumping team that is in the playoff picture that we saw this weekend. I'm talking about Ryan O'Hearn from the
Hmm.
Baltimore Orioles. Since August 18th, he is slashing 182, 226, 273 for a 499 OPS, a 42 weighted runs created plus, and minus 0.5 F4. I did cheat a little bit on this one because he just missed the qualifier, so I narrowed it down to plate appearances. Among the 196 hitters with at least 90 plate appearances in this span, Ryan O'Hearn ranks 11th lowest in batting average, 7th lowest in OBP, 9th lowest in slugging, 5th worst in OPS. It's tied for 6th worst in weighted runs created plus, and tied for 3rd worst in F4, and that despite so that makes that look even worse. Before the span, Ryan O'Hearn had a strikeout rate of 12.4% and a walk rate of 10.5%. And in the span, the strikeout rate is up to 18.3%, and the walk rate is down to 5.4%. So he is striking out a bit more, walking a bit less. His whiff rate has gone from 16.2% to 22.7% in the span, and his chase rate has gone from 23.7% before the span to 36.2% in this span. So that's gone up by 12%, his chase rate, and that's not where you want to be at all. Before the span, Ryan O'Hearn had a ground ball rate of 39.2%, and in the span, it is up to 47.8%. That is a 8% increase in ground ball rate, and subsequently, his fly ball rate has decreased from 28.4% before the span to 19.7% in this span. So Ryan O'Hearn, he was a guy that, when he was going with the Orioles, especially last year, he was hitting a lot of fly balls. He was hitting the ball hard, keeping it off the ground, and that was kind of what made him into the great player that he was on a really good team. But he's gotten away from that over the last month. Not only is he hitting less fly balls, but he is also hitting worse fly balls. The exit velocity on his fly balls has gone from 93.2 miles per hour before the span to 88.9 miles per hour in this span. And before the span, 23.2% of his fly balls were pulled. And in the span, that number is down to 14.3%. So he is not distributing his power very well. He's not hitting for power as much to begin with. He's striking out more, walking less, chasing a lot more. And because of that, Ryan O'Hearn is getting a slightly alarming.
Yes, Ryan O'Hearn.
Slightly alarming.
And yeah, there were some kind of moans and groans when he came up to the plate last night. There were some words being said by some dismayed Orioles fans who were like, "Man, he's not doing well," and or some version of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. My slightly alarming is about a team. They're still technically in the mix. I don't think they're mathematically, or it's part of a team, that's mathematically in it, but are not really fully in the mix. Not a favored contender by any stretch, and they could be. They could have been if their offense was doing better. And that's why I'm highlighting the Red Sox offense as my slightly alarming, because
What a tough day to do that.
as we occasionally do. Yeah, it is tough because they did score, I think, combined 17 runs today. But it could be a thing of too little, too late. But in their previous 28 games, heading into today, they were hitting 213 with a 629 OPS. And yeah, also I did see they scored 8 runs, and then they were I think they were down 2-0 in the 5th, and I was like, yeah, I'll go with them. And then they just go on a
They scored
barrage.
6 runs in 1 inning.
Yeah, they absolutely slaughtered the Twins. But it's a little bit too little too late because, yeah, as I said, in the last 28 games heading into today, they were hitting 213 with a 629 OPS. Their average was second worst. On-base percentage was second worst. Slugging was third worst, and OPS was third worst. Also, their expected batting average was 5th worst, and expected WOBA was 6th worst. Part of this had to do with them not putting the ball in play. Their strikeout rate has gone from 25.0% before the span to 28.5% in the span. With that, they had the second highest strikeout rate in baseball in that span. Along with that, their whiff rate had gone from 27.5% to 31.2%, and that is the highest whiff rate in baseball in that span. And with their walk rate going from 8.1% to 6.6%, their walk to strikeout ratio is also the worst in baseball in this span. And if you want to point out some individual strugglers, if that's a word, Rafael Devers has been one of them. He's gotten some bad BABIP luck,
And an injury.
Yeah, and an injury. So
Shoulder injury.
Take it with a grain of salt. He has had some bad luck with batted balls and also a shoulder injury. However, he does have a 501 OPS in the span. Also, Masataka Yoshida has a 640 OPS in the span, and Jarren Duran has a 678 OPS in the span, which is, not a disaster, but certainly underperforming what he was doing previous to that, as someone who's probably going to be top 10, potentially even top 5 in MVP. But yeah, he's been not at the top of his game for the last month. But yeah, for those reasons, the Red Sox offense is getting a
slightly alarming.
All right, so that does it for slightly alarming. Now we will go from the lows to the highs with our Sunday, September 22nd, 2024 edition of How About That?
He's striking out less, walking more, and he's also making better contact.
Turning into a strikeout machine just out of nowhere.
He's been excellent all around this year.
And he is getting a
How about that?
Yeah, so for my How About That today, I've talked about this guy having a breakout year briefly on the pod, but I feel like it's deserving of a full breakdown, which I haven't really done justice to yet. So I think it's about time that I finally fully address Hunter Brown and what he's done over the last few months. Since June 8th, Hunter Brown has a 2.24 ERA and a 2.93 FIP in 108 and 2/3 innings pitched. Among these 69 qualifying starters in that span, he ranks third in ERA and also leads the American League in ERA. He ranks seventh in FIP and tied for third in FWAR, tied with Tarek Skubal. So he has been the American League's best pitcher by FWAR and ERA since June 8th, which is remarkable. Brown had a 6.18 ERA and a 5.05 FIP in 2024 before the span, and obviously a lot has changed since then. Before the span, the average exit velocity against him was 88.1 miles per hour, but in the span, it is 84.9 miles per hour on 296 batted balls. That is the lowest average exit velocity among the 146 pitchers with at least 150 batted balls in the span. He almost has double that. The hard hit rate against Hunter Brown is in the span is at 26.7%. That is the lowest on that same list. 11.8% of the total batted balls against Brown have been hard hit and in the sweet spot. That is a very low rate. It is the fourth lowest rate on that aforementioned list of 146. Throughout this span, 17.5% of fly balls given up by Hunter Brown have been pulled, and that is the sixth lowest rate among the 100 at least 50 fly balls given up in the span. That takes away a lot of power that hitters might have against him. The average exit velocity on his in the span is 88.7 miles per hour. That is tied for the third lowest on that same list of 112 pitchers with at least 50 fly balls given up. One thing that I found interesting is that Hunter Brown threw a sinker a single-digit number of times in both 2022 and 23. He threw it like 7 combined times in the 2 years. He started throwing it a little bit more consistently in May of this year, so which was before the span. But the increase of the usage of it has since increased to where it is his second most used pitch this year. Throughout the span, his sinker has a run value of +5. Opponents have had a 78.7% or 78.7 mile per hour average exit velocity against Hunter Brown's sinker. That is the lowest among the 194 pitchers with at least 25 batted balls allowed against their sinker, and he is 94, by the way. So these changes have helped Hunter Brown improve his home run to fly ball rate from 25.6% before the span to just 11.1% in the span. Not to mention he's striking out over 9 guys per 9. He is walking a very good amount, and obviously we've mentioned the quality of contact has been stellar. So Hunter Brown has been a legitimate ace pitcher for the Astros. He'll probably be the 2 starter in the playoffs behind Framber Valdez. And, this is obviously going to be a very different look Astros rotation in the playoffs compared to what we've seen in years past. But don't be fooled by that, because Hunter Brown is a legitimate ace type pitcher. That's what he's been for the last 3 months.
Yeah, Hunter Brown.
How about that?
Yeah, big part of sort of the revamp of what we know as the Astros rotation. obviously struggled to start the year and now are looking like one of the most elite and deep rotations in this entire playoff picture, which is, major turnaround. I prepared two how about that today because I was worried we were
I
going to
think I know where
overlap.
one of these is going.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I had to address the hole that we have. Um we aim to cross all 30 teams off the list, and it was a lot more difficult this year because we switched from 2 episodes a week to 1 episode a week, given our schedules. But you know, spoiler alert, we managed to do that. But I will do that as my second how about that. I will start with my first one, who is not involved in that team. We've already done a Diamondback, but I wanted to highlight Pavin Smith.
Yep.
Shout out UVA. He's a alum. But in Pavin Smith's last 16 games, including today, he is hitting 333 with an 1192 OPS. And out of 164 qualifying hitters coming into Sunday, Pavin Smith's slugging and OPS both ranked first. Along with that, out of 157 hitters with 200 plus pitches seen in this span, his expected batting average ranked sixth, expected slugging ranked second, and expected WOBA ranked third. Part of this has to do with him hitting the ball harder, as his average exit velocity has gone from 90.0 miles per hour to 91.8 miles per hour. But a lot of this has to do with him hitting the ball just in a better direction on all fronts. Every single number among the four angle related batted ball possibilities are improving. His ground ball rate has gone from 48% to 33%. Line drive rate has gone from 21% to 30%. Fly ball rate has gone from 23% to 37%. And his pop-up rate has gone from 8.5% to 0.0%.
Wow.
That's right. He has not had a pop-up in his last 16 games. In fact, on 30 batted balls in this span, or actually now 32 batted balls in this span, he has not hit a batted ball above 41 degrees. So that even kind of outdoes the pop-up mark, because you can have like a 45-degree fly ball that's not regarded a pop-up. Among the 245 hitters with 25 plus batted balls in the span heading into Sunday, Pavin Smith was one of 3 hitters to keep all his batted balls below 42 degrees. And he stayed under 42 degrees in his 2 batted balls today. So maybe he's one of 2 or one of 1 now. But why that's important, why I'm throwing out the launch angle number, is because when you hit the ball, when hitters in the year 2024 have hit the ball 42 plus degrees, they have hit 026 and 049. Hit 026 and slugged 049 on those batted balls. And just in general, just obviously, or given by that number, he's hitting balls at more optimal launch angles. He has gone from hitting 44% of his batted balls between 5 and 41 degrees to hitting 80% of them between 5 and 41 degrees, which ranks first out of 245. Along with that, his rate of batted balls being pulled fly balls has gone from 4.2% to 10.0%, and his barrel rate has gone from 10% to 23%. And out of 157 hitters heading into Sunday, Pavin Smith's barrel rate ranked 6th. So yeah, he's really had the power stroke, leading the MLB in slugging and OPS over his last 15 games heading into Sunday. And yeah, being a big part of that Diamondbacks playoff push. I know I think for part of the span, Christian Walker might have been on the IL, or maybe he'd just come back. But either way, wasn't getting the amount of playing time he normally does. So getting some power out of either the DH spot or the first base spot, it's helping out the Diamondbacks for sure. So Pavin Smith is getting a.
How about that?
And to close out, we are crossing that final team off the list, with that team being the Pirates and that player being Dennis Santana. So not only
reliever diving.
we're reliever diving today, and it's legit. I'm not like I was like searching the base. I was searching the Pirates roster, seeing if there was anyone who popped out. I'm like, this guy. I haven't really been looking at this guy, but he has good numbers with the Pirates this year. And then I looked, and it just happens that much of the success has been recent. So there we go, perfect, right on a tee for me. So Dennis Santana, in his last 19 appearances heading in, or excuse me, in his last 19 appearances, including today, he has a 0.40 ERA in 22 and a third innings pitched. In his previous 18 appearances heading into Sunday, he had a 1.90 FIP, and I'm sure that improved because he faced 3 batters today, struck out 1, did not allow a walk, did not allow a homer, so that's obviously going to improve your FIP. Along with that, out of 196 qualified relievers in this span, his ERA ranks 6th. And out of 295 pitchers with 250 plus pitches thrown in this span, his expected slugging against ranks 5th, and his expected WOBA against ranks 4th. It's out of 295. So he is in the top 3%, maybe even 2%, or top 2% for expected WOBA. Part of this has to do with him, not letting hitters get the ball in play. His strikeout rate has gone from 22% to 29%, including today, and his whiff rate has gone from 28% to 32%. He's also allowing softer contact. His average exit velocity has gone from 86.6 miles per hour to 85.0 miles per hour. And out of 295 pitchers, his average exit velocity against ranks 15th, which is top 7 or 8% right there. Along with getting softer contact, he's getting more pop-ups. His pop-up rate has gone from 5% to 11%, more than doubled. And as we know, that's the worst form of contact from a batter's perspective. So always good to increase that as a pitcher. And then lastly, his barrel rate has gone from 6.6% to 0.0%. That's correct. He is not allowed a barrel in his last 19 appearances over the course of 22 and a third innings pitched. And among the 295 pitchers with 250 plus pitches thrown in this span heading into Sunday, he was one of 9 pitchers to not allow a barrel. So Dennis Santana been a key part of the Pirates bullpen. They're not playing for anything right now, but he's certainly up in his stock for next year. So Dennis Santana is getting A.
How about that?
And
I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, we did it.
We got all 30. It was a difficult year for us to do so. Less episodes, less opportunities. We still got it done. So very proud of that.
Yeah, only so far it's only 24 regular season episodes. So we hit all 30 teams in 24 episodes.
Pretty good.
Pretty solid. Given that, combined we probably had 48. How about that? I think
little bit more than that.
Little bit more than that because you had Tugboat
somewhere in the 50s.
Yeah, somewhere in the low 50s. For how about that? So we got to every team. Hell yeah!
Diaz getting the 8th in a 1-run game.
Maybe he's going for the 6-outer. Who knows?
Either going for the 6-outer or they're going to put a Reed Garrett out there.
So yeah, that does it for players to highlight. Last time we will be highlighting players from non-contending teams. Next week all the players to highlight will be on teams or on playoff teams, on actual playoff teams that will be determined by our next episode.
Yes, that have confirmed made the playoffs.
That have confirmed made the playoffs, and then that'll be it for players to highlight for the year. Speaking of final things, this is Daniel's final Baseball Savant trivia game of the year. I think we determined it's going to be a regular season thing. I
feel like we could probably skip it for the postseason, then return to it in the off season. But maybe it's a discussion to be had later. But I feel like we should skip it for the postseason.
Yeah, we'll skip it for the postseason. But for temporary, it'll be the last one for a while from Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll finish off next week. But final Baseball Savant trivia game. Apparently, this is going to have some layers to it. It's going to be a little complicated. So I'm excited to hear about it. What is your game for this week?
Yeah, I'm very excited for this one. So first of all, before I even explain anything, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, just go to the YouTube right now because this is pretty much a video exclusive one. So Chris, normally when we do these games, when it involves video, the person hosting the game has to share their screen. However, you will be sharing your screen in this game, even though you are the one playing. So I am going to email you a downloaded video from Baseball Savant. Like when you go on the Illustrator and you click on one of those little circles and you watch the video and download it. I'm going to send you one of those videos of something that happened this year. And I'm going to time you, and you're going to have as quickly as to go on Baseball Savant and find that video.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think
Yep.
my internet connections in store, I think will be good to go.
Yeah. So there are 6 videos. You have one lifeline that you can use once, and it's the ability to use the Savant search tool.
Um, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
So
I can't
you can use the
use,
Savant you can use the Savant search tool once because that's too easy.
oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
because that,
you can kind
yeah.
of decide you want to use it whenever. You could pre-decide, you could see the thing and be like, okay, I'm gonna need it for this one, but you get to use it once and you can decide at any time. Um,
Um,
I will say, if you feel like this is baseball savant trivia, but if you feel like you need to use other forms of research, whether that be something like baseball reference or Fangraphs or anything else, I will permit you to do that. But the only thing is you cannot use the Savant search tool unless you use your lifeline on it.
okay. All right. Yeah, I could I'm thinking of my loopholes, so we'll see how this goes.
I there was really no way for me to play test this myself because like I tried doing it a couple times, but it's like it's tough when it's like I know the thing that's coming.
Yeah.
But worth noting, all of them are from this year.
Yeah.
I was thinking about making it tough and expanding the range to like 2022, but I decided against that because we've never done this before. So, if you want to share your screen real quick, I'm going to send you video number 1. And yeah, once you X out of the video or once you like hit pause on it, you are on the clock.
Yeah, and I'm just seeing there's not anything crazy on my email, so I'll just have my inbox out.
Yeah.
Um, or I don't know, is there a way I can like just
Yeah, I think
filter?
if you download it, you can just like you could share the video player and then you'll have to share Savant.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'll be good. I'll be good. All right. Oh, let's not click on that. All right, we are gonna
Actually, wait,
share the
unless you
screen right
like
here.
do you have to manually switch from sharing your video player to Savant?
Um, we'll see. We'll see about that.
Okay. All right, I'll start the video when you pause, but I'll like shave off a couple seconds if you have to take some time to switch your screen share.
All right.
All right, so you do have to download the video.
Um,
All right, and once you watch it, and then once you pause it, the game begins.
all right. I I will have to.
Yeah, you have to separately screen share the video player.
All right. Let's take a look at this one. All right. Ooh, I was at this game.
Certainly a home run threat, too. High fly ball, left field. That is deep. Way back it goes. She's gone off the light standard.
So I have to find this on Baseball Savant.
Yep.
Okay. Or wait. Excuse me.
All right, I'll stop that. All right, the timer starts when you share your screen.
Okay.
I'm so excited to see how this looks. All right, Chris, I'll do like the play-by-play here. All right, Chris is going to Eugenio Suarez's Savant page. He's on the game logs. He's clicked on StatCast. He's scrolling down. I'm pretty sure Chris would know the date of this one, considering he was at the game. He has scrolled. He looks like it's at the game. He sees it, and oh, he's going with a different method. And time, 26 seconds.
Let's go.
Heck of a job, Chris. Yeah, that was really good. Like when I was anticipating this, I was like, all right, I feel like the goal is 2 minutes.
Yeah,
You just
it
did it in
helps.
26 seconds.
It helps that I went to this game and I went to it.
That's
like 4 weeks.
why I put that one first.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I tried to make the difficulty like actually more difficult. So I figured level 1 would be exactly what day this was.
Okay.
And that
Yeah.
certainly is a big part of it. But 26.08 or 26.08, yeah. So excellent job on the first one, and I am now sending you video number 2.
All right.
I thought you did way better than I would have because my initial thought is go to the illustrator. You save so much time by doing that.
We do it. Yeah, we do it different. I like that. I like that form. Sometimes it's better. I'm sure sometimes it's worse also.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I'm gonna download the video. Okay. So we will. share here. Go to QuickTime. All right, seeing it.
Luis Arise slices it down the left field line. That's going to be in there for a base hit. Extra base knock, in fact.
Arise
Canario gets it back in, and
Cubs.
Arise, who loves to spray that ball around.
The great Luis Arise. I mean, contact hitting is dead. This guy keeps it alive. Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay. So this one I could bite myself in the ass. Let's X out of that because that could be a loophole. I'm just what no.
Oh, so
no.
we got a spelling error, Louise.
This guy hasn't been to typing class in a while. Let's see if this method continues to work.
He's going back to the game logs. Oh, and he's got and he's switched the game date. Clearly this was early in the season. He was on the Marlins and he's finding the game. There's Drew Smiley. Looks like he's clicking time.
There we go.
There it is. 34 seconds. 34.75.
Awesome.
So this is going. You're taking a much different route than I thought you would have to, but it's working for you. So I'm not going to tell you to not do it because it's working.
Working so far.
34 seconds on that one, and the video 3 has been sent.
Okay. Let us X out of these things, and now 3. Refresh. Oh, there we are.
There it is.
All right, on to number 3 here.
Yep.
We got McKinstry up. So this is a tough one because it's a division matchup.
Jersey on. That's amazing. Thank you to whoever that is.
Oh.
Zach McKinstry hits it well into right center field, and it's caught.
So I imagine that Austin Hedges has not had very many pitching appearances.
Time.
Oh crap.
Oh wait. Oh
Sorry.
no, never mind.
Whoops.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed Austin Hedges on the mound when I gave you that one. All right.
Let's see, this is my things are in the way. Okay, so let me just
I'll stop it then.
Okay, we can start now.
Yeah. All right. Oh, you went to Gmail. Oh no, I'm still starting it.
That's fine. Hey, I was not
Austin Hedges, let's go. The loophole, we go from the pitcher side. He goes to game logs. Not a very good looking percentile page, but he goes to StatCast, and that's his hitting. It's not what we're looking for. Oh, Chris, the button's right there. Oh, he goes to StatCast. He goes back. He's scrolling down. He clicks on pitching, and he's going to game logs. And the even worse percentile is how is that possible? All right, he's scrolling down through Austin Hedges' page. He's got a great pitch arsenal with a fastball and an ephus. That's probably the ephus. All right, the game logs. He's going through the game logs, and oh man, which one is it?
Oh, okay. All right.
Which one is it? All right, time. That was entertaining just because you went through the Austin Hedges way.
That was tricky.
Yeah. Your time was 59 seconds and 35 milliseconds. So
hopefully,
that was your longest
hopefully
one.
that's one of my longer ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hard.
If you watch it back, there was a button where you could have switched the game logs from batting to pitching.
Okay,
you missed.
I was lost.
Yeah.
When you're on the clock, your mind's
sure. Yeah.
Mine's not all the way right.
All right. Yeah. I guess I probably should have made that one a little harder by not choosing one where position player was on the mound. That is foul. All right. I have emailed video 4.
Video 4. Oh, all right. And download. Downloaded. Let's get this up and running. All right, we got Derek Law on the mound and Ke'Bryan Hayes at the bat.
And to the right side, Vargas, a long way to go back to his left.
Didn't even finish the play.
Okay, let's share.
All right, I'm starting the clock when you share the screen. Okay, I'll stop. Hold on. All right, there we go. I don't know why it keeps going to Gmail. All right. Oh, you got the apostrophe. That's important on Baseball Savant.
It is very important.
Real ones know that. All right. Will he go to the game logs? He is going to the game logs. All right. Looks like he's going to StatCast. He's going to search by fielding team. And you got to scroll to find the Nationals.
I thought since it was a W team.
Yeah, it would be that. Well, it looks like the Nationals are pretty far down here.
What is this
the
order?
Giants, the Brewers, the Red Sox, the Mets, the Phillies, the Tigers, the Orioles. He's found the Nationals. There's Derek Law. It's a field out. Is that the one? Yes, it is. 37 seconds is the time.
I mean, if it worked out how I thought it would work out, because Seattle was at the top. What the heck is that?
I thought Washington was also going to be. Yeah, that was a very random order of teams.
Yeah, no, that makes.
It wasn't even
sense.
like in team alphabetical order.
Yeah, that's weird.
Your time was 37 on that one.
37. All right.
Yes.
So yeah, first one is still is still my best one.
Yeah. And I have emailed video number 5.
Number 5.
Video number 5. Here we go.
For New York.
Verdugo.
In recent weeks.
Here's
the first pitch. Verdugo goes after it, and a pop foul. Rort Vet just even with the.
All right, let's see what I can do here. First, let's share the internet screen. Yeah, once I hit the plus button, we'll be good to go. Because there's a thing where there's a tab that drops. All right, there we go.
All right, Chris is searching Verdugo. He's there. All right, how will we do it this time? He's going back to game logs. Now this is might be a trickier one. He's on to StatCast. He's gone by launch angle, and look at that. It is the top one. What a job there by Chris. The sorting that was. Hey, listen. Like that is a great strategic move that many players would not have thought to do was angle. And look at that. It was the top one. You saw Zach Eflin on the Rays, and you got it 16 seconds on that one.
As soon as he hit that pop-up, I knew my strategy, and I figured it would pay off, and it did.
Heck of a job there. 16 seconds on that one. Yeah, I mean, listen, that's why you're a pro at this. Like, not everyone would have thought to do that. And I mean, also, like, I feel like if we played this game like 3 years ago, we would have had no idea what we were doing.
No, yeah, this would have taken
16
hours.
seconds would have been like an impossible time.
Yeah.
Like you would have had to like have accidentally like already downloaded the video and like knew exactly where it was.
Right.
All right, but the final video has been sent over. You do still have your lifeline if you choose to use it.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I will.
I don't know if you will either. Maybe that says something about what this video is.
Okay. Let me share.
Offensively,
Bogarts
being very productive.
Richardson. Oh, it's not a bad ball.
I had to do that at least once.
All right, I will use I'll probably be using
I figured
search.
that would be the one. I figured that would be the one where you use the search.
Okay, as soon as I hit this plus tab.
Yeah.
Oh no. Wait. Go away. There we go. Okay.
All right, so this is a very different type of video because it is not a batted ball. It is a pitch that was taken. Chris is searching Xander Bogaerts. Oh, he's got a typo there. Woods Richardson, very long last name, but it comes up quickly, and he's just gonna hit the search right away. There's 16 pitches, so there's gonna be a plethora to choose from here. He's going to the pitch chart. Will this be the one? All right, he's looking. Oh, there's a choice here.
Actually, let me try to nail it down.
He's gonna nail it. He's going by called strike. That's gonna narrow it down quite a bit. And he's down to 3. It's down to 3 pitches. Which one will Chris go with? Will he pick the right one? Let's see what this chart looks like here. You got 3 pitches, and he's on the right one. There it is. 46 seconds. Chris, you got under a minute in each one. Phenomenal job.
Very productive.
Just taking a victory lap here.
You watching the video?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to do one non-batted ball at least once.
Well, I mean, it was definitely a little bit tougher, and had I not had the search option, I mean,
yeah,
it would have been.
I was very much wondering, like, if he uses the search option before the last one, he's probably going to regret that.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm not going to say that because that's not fair for the game. But yeah, that did not go as I thought. But I don't think I mean that in a bad way. I think you did a very nice job. It was very entertaining, at least on my part. I hope that turned out entertaining on the video side.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun doing it.
You definitely did much better at that game than I would have, because when I play tested it, my thought was go through the Illustrator and like narrow it down that way.
Yeah, no, I like that that StatCast game log feature. For whatever reason, that's what I was attracted to first.
Yeah.
Part of it was like I used to use Google Chrome, and like with Illustrator, when going through all the options, the scroll option I just wasn't able to do. So it's just always been like StatCast search and or Savant search and the StatCast game logs. But yeah, no.
And that game is it's unlike one that we've done before. Edwin Diaz just walked Bryson Stott to put a runner on first with 1 out. I don't know. I felt like that one, like, I mean, it's like I said, it's different than anything we've done before. I feel like the way that it turned out really exposed like the true nature of our Savant nerdiness.
Yeah,
like, the fact that all of those took you under a minute is phenomenal. Yeah. And your quickest time was 16 seconds from like logging onto the Savant page.
Yeah, right. Yeah, every week I get impressed by your originality, because there's a lot of different games, a lot of different directions you go. So yeah, when we started the Savant trivia stuff, whatever, 19-20 weeks ago, I was like, I don't know how far it was going to go, but each week, I get more and more surprised.
Yeah. Listen, I drive a lot for work. Like, and specifically, I've been driving long distances for work in the last like 2 months. So like, there's just a lot that goes through my mind during those calls. And honestly, like half the ideas have come from work drives.
Nice. But yeah, anything more before we wrap this one up?
No, I think that one's it. Yeah, that was a fun game. Fun Savant trivia. Definitely watch on the YouTube. If you had to listen to that one over the podcasting services, I hope my commentary did well enough for you.
Yeah.
I understand if it didn't though.
Hope it sufficed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that shall do it for this installment of Above Replacement Radio. We hope you enjoyed this one. If you were listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, definitely make sure to check out the YouTube channel. It is called Above Replacement Radio. Most of the time we do Savant trivia, you're gonna want to tune into that YouTube page, and also for other reasons, check out the playlist. We have a full playlist of guest interviews featuring people like Mark Simon, Chris Rose, Foolish Bailey, Jeff Passan, Sarah Langs, Mike Petriello, among others, for some pretty evergreen content. Also follow us on social media. Follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran, and follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. We hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you next time, where we will be recapping the fun weekend of baseball that has just occurred and previewing the wild card series. We will see you then.
This conversation is over.